Today I'm going to try to draw this little house and the giant rock behind it in Monemvasia, Greece. This is day 2 of the coastal road trip that my wife and I are taking, and as mentioned yesterday, we've pretty much committed ourselves to ignoring online help as much as possible. So we're not looking up any specific routes or destinations. We're not booking any places to stay in advance. And, besides that, we're just staying off the phones altogether. With that said, it wasn't right until before recording this voiceover that I realized something dumb and kind of frustrating. But before I get to that, if you're new to this channel, I'm on a mission to teach myself to draw from life while I travel the world. I'm currently in Greece, which is fantastic. And as you can see in the title, I'm 118 days into the process. Sometimes the drawings are fine. Most of them, actually. Most of the time they're fine. Sometimes they're relatively decent, and sometimes they're crap. Will this one be crap? Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, subscribe right now and don't look back, and it'll be worth it. I promise. If you're not new here, and let's say for the sake of optimism that you are already subscribed, awesome, you can still like the video and comment something, anything, and that would be a big help for me. So please do that. Okay, so this big rock seemed like just that. We drove around for a bit, saw that some people were parking near the rock. We didn't understand why, and we figured we'd take a little walk around the town, grab something to eat, do this, the drawing, obviously, and be on our way. And that's what we did. And when we got back, we mentioned visiting Monemvasia to some people in town, and their responses didn't really match our experience. They'd say, oh, of course, it's so beautiful there, yada, yada, yada. And then I go to look some things up about it, so maybe I'll have a thing or two to say to you about it. And come to find out, the whole reason people visit this place is what's on the other side of this rock. It's a whole town, built into it. It was this fortified island town, and it's just directly behind this rock, and we missed it entirely. So that's nice. While I still highly recommend putting down the phone and just going on an adventure, maybe don't miss the highlights. Anyway, aside from that little bit of semi-disappointing news, Monemvasia was founded in the 6th century, making it one of the oldest continually inhabited towns in Europe. The town is the site of a once powerful medieval fortress and was at one point one of the most important commercial centers in the Eastern Mediterranean, says Wikipedia. Because how else would I know any of that? Because I didn't go there, which is fine. So drawing-wise, I started with those light lines that I really despise, but I think they were necessary for this, for me at least. I have many issues with this drawing, but one thing I'll say right now is that the composition is not one of them. Things seem to match up quite well, I think you'll see by the end. And maybe that's just the basket I put all of my eggs into, because it sure wasn't shading, I'll tell you that. Anyway, after exploring the scene with these light lines, I focused in on the little house at the center, and this went reasonably well. I had a good time implying this big, blocky stone texture, and while the proportions aren't exactly perfect, I honestly couldn't care less about that. Overall, this area of the drawing worked out pretty well, and I'd actually say that I carried that through to the foreground. I like how the road was coming together. I think the small bits of foliage do exactly their job. Even the area directly behind the house, while definitely not my favorite part, works okay in my opinion. It's not exactly obvious that the shapes are rocks, but it's also not beyond the realm of possibility, and I will take that. But then we arrive at the gigantic rock in the background, and with it, the broader shading of the rest of the drawing. Again, shape-wise, I think what I had here was totally acceptable, but that counts for very little when everything else falls flat. And falls flat, it certainly does. Similar to my coastal path from the other day, I really don't understand how to manage these huge textures, especially in terms of keeping things consistent across the drawing. I don't want anything I do back there to detract from what I have done down here. The major irony here is that this reference is not so dissimilar to my very first drawing on this channel back on Jeju Island. And if memory serves, I dealt with a lot of the same problems then. I'm sure if I look back at that drawing, I'd realize just how much worse it is in comparison. I hope, oh my God. But in the moment, drawing this, it did not feel that way. And if anything, it felt like I was doing more poorly now than I was then, which I'm sure really helped my confidence. So texture aside, which I don't love, but it's not exactly horrendous, my main gripe with the rock, as well as the rest of the drawing, is this very bland hatching that I did. I don't think it does anything to imply texture the way I would want it to. Even if I could get past the rock, the house specifically is almost ruined because of it. It does absolutely nothing here, and I resent that, and I regret it. It's frustrating. So yeah, here it is, and you can see clear as day what I'm talking about. Those straight yet scribbly lines only take away from those components, and therefore they take away from the entire drawing. This was one of those that, walked on the edge of a knife for a while. It could have gone either way, and unfortunately, I decided to make a move that I ultimately regretted. However, I can still see some silver linings here, like the composition, as mentioned, some of the subtler textures, and yeah, maybe that's it. But anyway, while I may not love this one, I'm interested to see what you think about it, as this is all pretty subjective. So let me know in the comments, leave a like, and if you haven't already, for some reason, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you for taking the time to watch this one, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks.